In the previous lesson, we saw how we can work with UV maps using this model right here, and how we can apply different types of graphics, whether they are single placement or tiled, so repeated many times. And for the texture here that we use also a repetition. So usually we have two types of application. We have the application of a texture that is going to be repeated with the tiling, and then we can use the manipulator here. Let's select the right object, go to the levels or layers, and select the layer here, and we can scale it up or down. And a really important thing is that it doesn't contain seams. So you can look for seamless textures of high quality, but you can also create your own. So we saw we can create our own textures, but sometimes we have problems with seams or with the colors or with the effects. So we can adjust them a little bit. We can do some color correction and adjustments here directly in Substance that we're gonna see in this video. For the first part of this video, we're gonna use this kids pant design model. So we're gonna continue a little bit with apparel design, product design, packaging, branding, applying logos, graphics, and so on onto this model. And then we're gonna proceed, and this is from TurboSquid, by the way, if you wanna get it, and it's free model. And then we're gonna proceed with the Marina here, which is again also a combination of character design and also apparel design, like shoes and the purse and the coat and the t-shirt, so we can use it in many different ways. And again, this is available in TurboSquid, and it's called Marina 1276. And we also mentioned that we can use other software if we want to do graphic design, and especially if you want to work with pixels. We are talking about working with raster graphics and pixels. So we can use Photoshop, but also a free alternative, Photoshop, which is GIMP. You can download it and install it, or you can use also Pixlr, which is completely online. We did some examples in the previous lesson about these different options and apps that we can use. And so we also can use some websites like Smart Normal or Normal Map and to help us create normal maps. And we're gonna do it also in this video. So we're just gonna do it later. Now I want to start with the pants, and we'll try to make everything inside Substance in this video. So let's get first the wrong texture. There is a text that I have downloaded in the previous video, which I called bad texture. So I'm gonna create a new level here, so a new layer, and I'm gonna apply this bad texture. Let me see if I have it already. Otherwise, we need to import it. So I want to go here in the texture, and there you go. This is the bad texture, which I'm going to bring in the base color right here. And it's quite big, so I'm just going to use the manipulator and make it smaller. Hold the shift key if you want to maintain the proportions, and we can start to see the seams. So this is why this is not a good texture. Now I just realized I was in Italian language, so I switched quickly in English. And to use the clone stamp tool, we need to add another layer. Now, we have different operations we can do with layers. We're gonna discover more in this video. So you can create groups, you can apply a preset directly from here. You can use the fill layer, as we know, and the brush layer here, or standard layer that we use so far. And then you have masks, which we're gonna talk later. And then you have this other one here, which is gonna add more effects. And so we're gonna see what are generators, what is for example, a level here, adjustment levels. And for now, let's go for the add paint. So if you add a paint layer inside this other fill layer, you will be able to paint inside this. So one way it could be like just to hide with the color those seams, or with graphics or something else. But if you want to use the clone stamp right here, we can just click now, and you can choose between the relative source and the absolute source. Now for the relative source, this is going to be fine for what we need to do. So all I'm going to do is decide where I want to get the pixels from and then paint on the seams. So let's say I want to get pixels from there. So I'm going to press the V key of my keyboard, and you can see down there V and plus left of the mouse to get that part of the texture that we want to reproduce. So the clone tool is copying the pixels from one part to the other. So with that, you can hide or you can duplicate. Now in this case, I'm going to hide. So get those pixels here. And to see that effect, there is also another really important switch we need to do. We need to go on the paint layer right here and change this from normal to pass through. That's the switch that we want to use. So also make sure you don't have like a pretty hard brush stroke. So here in the alpha, don't increase the hardness. You want to have a nice and smooth brush. So again, press V, press the left mouse button of your mouse, and then start to paint on that other area. You can see that the little square on the other side is moving, which means it's getting those pixels as I move. And if I start again, for example, here, it's going to take that position again. So this is called the relative source because the source is kind of moving together with the paint. And so you can see that little by little, I'm hiding those seams right there. So that's the way we can use it to hide. Now let me close this and let's go back here. Now we can also use the clone to copy. So now I want to use all the layers here because I have different layers with like logos and other stuff they applied on top of the basic denim layer. So if I go all the way to the top and just create another paint layer with the on layer, I can also use this with the clone. So this time I'm going to use, instead of relative source, I'm going to use absolute source. So when I press the V and click there, I will get that source. Remember, we need to switch to pass through, and then I'm going to paint this right here. So the only difference between the relative and the absolute is that the absolute is going to stay there. You can see if I move down here, it's always going to start from there instead of picking the relative position. So I can continue to copy that graphic more and more throughout my 3D object. And also if I go there and press V again and click again, I'm gonna get that other effect. So it's just like cloning in Photoshop or in GIMP using the clone tool. And also remember that as all the other brush here, we have different types of settings. For example, the alignment. I'm using the camera right now, but probably it's better to use the tangent or the planar. And I can also use the 2D space. So if I press B and click there, I can use the 2D space. And this is also maybe better with the UV in this case. And there you go. I want to go back here and go back to this fill layer right here. And I can apply also the generators. So if you click here, you can also right click. And here you have a set of options and commands. So you can use the masks, invert the masks. We're going to talk about masks later. You can cut the layer, you can copy the layer, you can duplicate it, you can remove it. You can also change the color of the layer if you want to underline that layer. And you can also add right here the generator. You have blending options. Now let's add a generator. Generators are pretty cool. Now nothing is happening here. They work kind of as a mask because this symbol here you can see is the same of the mask. And you need to add a generator. So you click here and you select one of these generators. I'm not going to show you all the generators, just I'm going to show you a couple. Now this one here is called the auto stitcher. So you can see it's creating automatically the stitches around what? It's using again the UV map. So again, this is why UV maps are so important. If you define well the UV maps, they can act also as in real life, as patches, and you can definitely use them. And then you have, you can change here the path position. You can change the size of the stitches, make it smaller, bigger. You can decide to change the width, the length, the roundness